What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Sunday, July 7th, 2024, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now, it is 12:06 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Europe, Asia, and from the Middle East, and also from here in the United States. So what you're looking at here is video footage coming out of North Dakota. There was some type of a train derailment or train crash, and this train was carrying various types of toxic materials, and the train cars have exploded, as you can see here, and they are now releasing toxic materials into the air. We're hearing that these train cars had anhydrous ammonia, sulfur, and methanol. So this is extremely dangerous, guys. So if you live near this train derailment, you should probably get out of town for a couple of days until they get this fire under control and it's not releasing those toxic chemicals into the air anymore. The cause of the train crash or train derailment is not known as of this time, but I would not be surprised if it was the work of Russian, Chinese, or Iranian sleeper agents in this country. And we also have some very concerning information coming out of the state of Pennsylvania. The state capitol complex in Pennsylvania in Harrisburg was evacuated yesterday after more than 250 people, including all Republican and Democrat members of the Pennsylvania State House and State Senate, received an email threatening to detonate highly lethal devices there until President Joe Biden publicly denounced Israel. The email was sent around 5:45 p.m. local time, that's 17:45 p.m. local time, with the subject line, "My Manifesto," and it said that lead-acid devices were hidden in and around the Pennsylvania State Capitol and Pennsylvania Judicial Center in the name of Palestine. So here it is right here, okay? It says here, "In the name of Palestine, I have hidden highly lethal lead-acid or lead-azide devices in and around the Pennsylvania State Capitol, as well as the Pennsylvania Judicial Center. I plan on triggering one device every few hours until Joe Biden goes on national television and publicly denounces the illegitimate state of Israel. Keep in mind, I am inside one of the two buildings armed with a knife and plan on remaining here to my dying breath." Wow. So this is absolutely insane. And this is just the beginning, guys, okay? Remember back in December, before the Christmas and New Year's holidays, we had the FBI director saying that we're basically at a pre-9/11 terror threat level right now. Okay, so you have to be on high alert. If you live in a big city or a congested area, you need to constantly be scanning your surroundings. You need to always have a bug out bag. Carry some body armor if it's legal in your state. Carry some trauma equipment for treating trauma wounds, okay? Just basic stuff like a tourniquet, Israeli bandage, and maybe chest seals, okay? That's really all you need to save somebody's life. And want to just update you guys on Hurricane Beryl. So here's the latest satellite imagery, and you can see it is reorganizing itself, and it's starting to look like a hurricane again. You can actually see a small eye beginning to redevelop here. Okay, so this thing is going to make landfall somewhere near Victoria, Texas, near Matagorda Bay. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing a discount on their 1-month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to go to preparewithnyprepper.com, and the link is in the description below this video. This is a 1-month freeze-dried food supply. It has a 25-year shelf life. Normal price is $237. They've dropped it down to $177. So that's a savings of $60. and it's all packed within 2 rugged, water-resistant buckets. Free shipping is included. $177 for 1 month of food. Where are you going to find a deal like that? They also have a general store, and they're always running discounts in their general store on various prepping and survival items. They have everything from MREs, potassium iodide, to survival seeds. And to get to their general store, you got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithnyprepper.com. And you'll see when you get there, they have everything you can imagine. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get $60 off the My Patriot Supply 1 month emergency food supply. That's $180 for 1 month of food, free shipping included. The link is in the description below this video. And also check out their general store. They have everything you can imagine prepping and survival related, and they're always running various discounts there. And a lot of the models are showing that this thing is going to make landfall as a Category 1, but I would not be surprised if this strengthened into a Category 2 or even Category 3, because Hurricane Harvey emerged from Mexico as a tropical wave, and then it rapidly intensified to a Category 5 as it got closer to land. Okay, so this could rapidly intensify as it gets closer to land. Same thing with Hurricane Katrina. Hurricane Katrina entered the Gulf as a tropical storm after it crossed over Florida, and then it rapidly intensified into a Category 5. The Gulf of Mexico is notorious for rapid intensification, okay? And the Galveston Emergency Management Office has issued an order authorizing a voluntary evacuation of the island's west end. And the order is effective beginning at 10 a.m. this morning and is for residents and visitors west of 103rd Street, not protected by Galveston's seawall. Okay, so this is extremely serious, guys. Okay, and the National Hurricane Center is saying that there could be rapid intensification shortly before it makes landfall. Okay, so it's getting close already. So I do anticipate over the next 24 hours, we're going to see rapid intensification. And here's the latest rainfall projection. You can see a widespread area of 8 to 12 inches of rain near Corpus Christi and Victoria and up to Galveston and even near Houston. Widespread area of 4 to 6 inches across all of eastern Texas, okay, and on up into Arkansas. And here's the latest storm surge forecast. You can see Matagorda Bay, 4 to 6 feet, and Galveston Bay, 3 to 5 feet, Corpus Christi, 2 to 4 feet. Okay, so a lot of storm surge here. And this is the forecasted cone. It's going to go all the way up into Michigan and stay as a tropical depression all the way up into Ontario, Canada. That's pretty interesting. So there's going to be a lot of rain in the Midwest and in the Great Lakes region from this storm, from the remnants of it. Here's some models. This is the HAFS, and it's showing a 970 millibar storm making landfall over Matagorda Bay. And so this would be like knocking on a Category 2 hurricane, 970 millibars. Right now, the storm is at 992 millibars and 65 mile per hour sustained winds, so it did strengthen a little bit since last night. Here's another model. This is the HMON, and it's showing a 979 millibar storm making landfall near Matagorda Bay. And then here's the HWRF showing a 975 millibar storm near Matagorda Bay. So it looks like all the models are showing a landfall near Matagorda Bay and a storm that's probably around 970 millibars or so. But again, this could change, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. And China and Belarus will conduct joint military training near the border of Poland in the city of Brześć in southwestern Belarus from early to mid-July, set against the backdrop of quote-unquote counter-terrorism operations. This joint exercise will feature integrated training and mixed unit drills The training scenarios will include hostage rescue and joint counterterrorism operations aiming to enhance the skill levels and coordination capabilities of the participating units and to deepen practical cooperation between the two countries' armed forces. So this is very concerning, guys, okay? Chinese troops are literally training with Belarusian troops and Russian troops right on the border of Poland in the city of Brześć, okay? Southwestern Belarus, literally 2 miles from the Polish border. We have Chinese forces, Russian forces, and Belarusian forces training together now. This is a huge red flag. And here we have the flight path of this Chinese Y-20 cargo plane that arrived in Minsk yesterday with the Chinese troops and military equipment. And yesterday we had some very, very concerning and unusual U.S. reconnaissance activity over northern Poland. So here we have Forte 16. Some of you guys may be familiar with the Forte drones that the U.S. sends into the Black Sea to monitor Crimea and Ukraine. Well, we had one up in northern Poland last night, and all day yesterday for 18 hours, this thing was airborne in the Mazury region, the lakes region of northern Poland, and also up to Gdańsk, which is where Poland has their largest shipping port on the Baltic Sea. And it was just looping back and forth hundreds of times on the border of Russia here. Okay, so this is extremely unusual. This is probably the second time I've ever seen one of these drones flying in northern Poland. And at the same time, we had a U.S. Air Force aerial refueler land in Lithuania. And what's interesting about that one is it came all the way from Pittsburgh. Now, Pittsburgh has an aerial refueling wing of the Pennsylvania National Guard, and that aerial refueling wing is responsible for refueling some of the highest profile flights like bomber flights, nuclear war command and control plane flights, okay, doomsday plane flights. So for them to send one of these KC-135 tankers to Lithuania from Pittsburgh means something serious is going down in the Baltics for them to send some of the best aerial refuelers to Lithuania, okay? And here's a closer look at the RQ-4 Global Hawk flight path over northern Poland. You can see just hundreds of loops here, okay, on the border of Russia in Kaliningrad, okay? So something's brewing over here. I don't know what it is exactly, but very concerning. And a new report is saying that Russia's weapons production has actually increased dramatically despite Western sanctions. Russia has significantly increased manufacturing of key weapons since invading Ukraine. KH-101 cruise missiles have increased from 56 per year in 2021 to 460 per year in 2023. So this represents an increase in production of over 700% of the KH-101 cruise missiles. Those are one of the cruise missiles that Russia always uses to attack Ukrainian cities. And they've increased production of Iskander ballistic missiles from about 50 per year before the invasion to about 180 per year since the invasion started, which is a threefold plus increase. And overall, the production of artillery rounds, missiles, and drones have also increased. So these sanctions have basically failed, and I could have told you that a long time ago that these sanctions never work, guys. Okay, it's just a bunch of BS from politicians here in the West to make it seem like they're doing something, but they've never worked, okay? I got an interesting email from a subscriber in the Netherlands. I want to read to you what this person wrote. Hi, I am Adrian from the Netherlands. I want to give you information about the fact that the army here in the north of the Netherlands is practicing extensively with mobile heavy cars in urban areas, and now they do not report to residents that there was an exercise. People typically panic and run into the bedroom. The latest news is that the Army lacks land for storage of heavy bullets and ammunition, and they want to buy a piece of harbor close to my house, 20 kilometers away. So very interesting. So this person, subscriber from the Netherlands, saying that the Netherlands Army is secretly doing these urban warfare exercises with what sound to be like armored personnel carriers and light tanks, and that the Army there is running out of land to store artillery and ammunition. And in an official press release from the Netherlands Ministry of Defense, apparently they're looking to acquire 6 sites to build ammunition storage warehouses. So this is all a sign that Europe is preparing for war with Russia. And Ukrainian drones hit an ammunition depot in Voronezh, Russia last night. So here we have some video footage coming out of Voronezh region. This is in southwestern Russia. Look at this huge cloud of smoke, guys, coming up from the horizon. Okay, so massive ammunition depot hit by Ukrainian drones. And Ukraine also attacked telecommunications infrastructure in the Kursk Oblast of Russia, which is in southwestern Russia as well. And Russia has been examining the remains of Storm Shadow missiles, Scalp missiles, and ATACMS missiles. Here we have a picture shared by Russian state media showing what appear to be Storm Shadow missile remnants. And we have this Russian military expert analyzing them in detail. Here's some more missile remnants. Not sure what these are, but you can see some English writing here. It says live skin on the outside of this fuselage, or whatever you want to call this, missile piece. And then here we have video footage that was published by the Russian state media showing one of these missile fragments here. Okay, so this is not good. Russia's learning a lot about how our weapons work, not just our tanks, our Abrams, our Bradleys, but they're learning about our Patriot missiles. They're learning about our cruise missiles, our ATACMS, our HIMARS. So Russia has learned a lot about American weapons and European weapons, NATO weapons. They've learned a lot about how we fight and how we integrate our militaries. And they're writing all this down, and when the war does kick off, the big war between Europe and Russia, okay, they're going to have an advantage over us in many ways, because we have been flooding Ukraine with all of our best weapons, and they've learned all the weaknesses of our weapons, okay, and they're learning how we fight, just like we're learning how Russia is fighting as well, okay, but Russia's not necessarily sending their best weapons except their missiles. Otherwise, they're sending their junkiest stuff, like their junkiest tanks and their junkiest personnel carriers, okay? And the Ukrainian Air Force is claiming that the Russian military struck mock targets at Ukrainian military airfields on July the 3rd at Dolhintseve and near Yuzhne on July the 6th, videos of which were published on Russian military Telegram channels, claiming that the Russian military struck bases that Ukraine was going to use to house their F-16s. So apparently Ukraine put out decoys, and the Russian military struck those decoys, okay? But this is absolutely crazy that Russia has possession of some of our missile fragments, and they're learning about how they work. Here we have some video footage coming out of the village of New York. Yes, the village of New York in eastern Ukraine. There's a village called New York in eastern Ukraine, not far from Donetsk. And the Russian military here is indiscriminately shelling this town with thermobaric artillery. You can see the flashes there. Okay, those are the thermobaric warheads. Okay. So Russia resorting to their scorched earth tactics, which is the same thing that Hitler did in World War II, basically just leveling these towns, turning them to dust, and then taking over the ruins, okay, after they've been destroyed. Okay, so this is absolutely insane that they're using thermobaric warheads, guys, on this village. They just have no regard for civilian life at all. Okay, that's how the Russian military always fought wars. They had never had any regard for civilian life. They never cared about that. They never cared about their own troops. Okay, just look at Stalingrad and World War II. Okay, they were sending millions and millions of Russians to Stalingrad with no shoes, no proper winter gear. Okay, they were just sending them there with just like a basic rifle, no training, just bodies on the front line. And they're doing the same thing now, and it's actually working for them. Okay, that's what Russia is good at. Okay, so a lot of people here in the West last year and the year before were laughing at Russia and saying, oh, they don't have shoes, they're not properly trained, but that's the way Russia has always fought wars, and they're good at doing it that way, okay? So rather than laughing at them, we should take it seriously, because that's how they fight, and they've proven historically that that works for them, okay? We have a massive amount of U.S. naval warships in the Mediterranean Sea. Here you can see a sampling of some of the ships that are known to have been deployed into the Eastern Mediterranean close to Israel to prepare for this big war between Israel and Lebanon, or actually between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon. We have the USS Wasp, we have USS Oak Hill, USS New York, we have the 24th Marine Expeditionary Unit, we have the USS Mount Whitney. We also have an entire aircraft carrier in the Eastern Mediterranean as well. So this is clearly a sign that something big is about to go down over there. And we also had this interesting British plane land in Beirut, Lebanon last night. Took off from Cyprus. It went to Jordan. Actually, it went to western Iraq near the Jordan border, and it was looping near the border of Jordan and Iraq. And then it went to Beirut, and it actually landed in Beirut. Okay, so I don't know if this is a British military evacuation plane to evacuate maybe British diplomats or VIPs out of Beirut, because things are about to go down. But very, very interesting. And then we also had a U.S. Navy reconnaissance drone patrolling the shoreline of Lebanon near Beirut. You can see it was focusing a lot of its efforts on Lebanon, okay? So that situation is about to boil over very, very soon. And the Israeli Minister of Defense, Yoav Gallant, held a briefing earlier today for several Israeli government ministers to give an overview on the extension of mandatory and reserve service within the Israeli Defense Force, which will continue until further notice. Okay, so they're extending mandatory and reserve service in Israel for their military until further notice. And rockets from Lebanon targeted Tiberias earlier today. The Iron Dome failed to intercept some of these rockets, and Hezbollah launched over 20 rockets last night into the lower Galilee. And Hezbollah said they targeted Israeli soldiers at the Berkat Risha site, killing and wounding them. Israel retaliated with airstrikes on the towns of Marub, Aida al-Shab, and Nakwara in southern Lebanon, and Israeli artillery targeted an area in southern Lebanon between the towns of Blida and Muhayyib. And the Republika Srpska will not allow Bosnia and Herzegovina to join NATO, said Milorad Dodik, the president of Republika Srpska, which is like a Serbian breakaway region in Bosnia. And he said that the genocide in Srebrenica is a bunch of lies. That's what he said. That's not what I'm saying, okay? But this was one of the genocides in the Balkans Wars, when the Serbians were ethnically cleansing the Bosnian Muslims and various types of Catholic and Muslim groups in Bosnia and Croatia, former Yugoslavia area, okay? So all these countries were once Yugoslavia, and then they broke up, and you had the Serbian groups, which were Orthodox Christian, and then you had the Catholic Croats, and then you had the Bosnian Muslims, and the Serbians were ethnically cleansing the Bosnian Muslims and the Croatian Catholics. Okay, and so this president of this breakaway region, Republika Srpska, is saying that genocide did not occur and that Bosnia will not join NATO while he's president. Okay, so that is very serious. It looks like we could see a new war in the Balkans. We'll have to keep an eye on that. And Russia is intensifying its efforts to block VPN services to restrict citizens' access to independent media. Additionally, there are plans to disable internet telephony, according to the British intelligence. Starting July 4th, several VPN apps were removed from the Russian App Store at the request of Roskomnadzor. Previously, such actions were justified by claiming that the apps provided access to allegedly content illegal in Russia. This is almost certainly intended to restrict the ability of Russian citizens to access independent Russian and international media, as well as to simplify the ability of the security services to monitor Russian citizens, the report states. Furthermore, the FSB is demanding that telecom operators disable voice over IP internet telephony to allegedly reduce the number of fraud cases. According to British intelligence, this is likely a step to enhance Russia's control of communications. So very interesting. Okay, they're blocking VPNs. They're demanding that VoIP get disabled. So this is very concerning. And Iran and Russia have finalized integration of national payment systems, and they're now going to be officially ditching the US dollar for trade. And a Greek frigate engaged 4 Houthi drones near Yemen and shot down 2 of them, while the other 2 retreated after the first 2 were shot down. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I might be back later on tonight with another update. I'm going to be monitoring the situation with Hurricane Beryl, and I'll probably set up a live stream either late tonight or early tomorrow morning in anticipation of the landfall near Matagorda Bay. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon down below so you get notified when I post these updates. Also, I will be returning back to my normal scheduled programming starting this week. I just had to take a little bit of time off over the holiday weekend, so I wasn't doing my usual 2 updates a day and live streams. But I will resume that this coming week. And until then, take care. Have a good Sunday. Hope you guys had a great 4th of July, Independence Day. And take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere.